What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon, and this is Lac du Bonnet Ponds. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, earlier in the summer I said I actually want to fish this pond in the winter during ice fishing season to see if we can get on some fish. Now at the moment it is minus 28 degrees Celsius. It is rather chilly, but there's also quite a lot of humidity in the air, and that just helps, makes it feel a bit cooler out there. So rather than moving around trying to find the fish, we're going to stick in one spot, put up a little shelter and try and stay warm. Now I'm saying we because it's me and the wife out here. We're going to see if we can find any fish. I've not yet caught any tiger trout, but she hasn't caught any tiger trout or brown trout, so anything she gets out there will just be a bonus. Now we've been looking for some deep water, but as you can see, the little orange barrier here behind me, that is actually the deepest part of this pond. There is a little aerator trying to get oxygen to the fish. So that particular spot is actually open water, thin ice. You're not allowed to go there. So we try and find some deeper waters out there. The spot we found, we had to go through 90 centimeters worth of ice to get to the water. So the ice is thick enough to be safely out there. And we got our little shelter set up, and we're just going to be fishing out there today. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope we get something. Alright, so it's now been 2 to 3 hours of fishing here in the little shelter. But we do have 2 rods baited with some baits, and on the rest we're kind of using some lures, trying to get some action out of the fish. And thus far we've actually had 5 takes, 5 chances of getting fish where we either lose the fish or they just steal the baits. So we have had some action, but unfortunately nothing to show for it at the moment. Now rather than get all sad about that, I think it's about time we have some lunch. We're going to make our own lunch today and just get a nice warm meal in us, because that will get us all excited about the fishing again. Now we are going to leave the rods in the water and just use a couple of the things we have here with us, little table and stuff, and quickly get a meal all ready and prepared.
Okay, so what we have here is literally just some jumbo shells, which I just pre-cooked at home, and we have some chicken, artichoke, and spinach stuffed shells for lunch. Il costo può gelatinized.
Alright, ladies and gents, we gave a good proper thumping out there trying to get on some fish, and sadly we did miss quite a few fish out there. Would have completely changed this video if we managed to catch a few and not just lose them at the hole. But hey, that's fishing. We aren't as experienced, so we are bound to make some mistakes at least. But we still had a pretty good time out there, and having a lovely little warm lunch on the ice as well. That does brighten one's mood a bit. So while we're heating the car, getting ready to go back home, rather than showing you a skunk-filled video, I'm going to show you this one instead. This is Lac du Bonnet. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, first time fishing this lake, no idea what's out there. Now this lake is actually also the Winnipeg River. It's where they dam up the Winnipeg River, but even though it is a lake, there is a pretty strong current. You can see water's moving. So it's very weird to fish a lake that's kind of still a river. And I'm interested to see what the fishing's like out there. Now I started this session by throwing around some lures just to get a feel for the general place, to see where the rocks are and stuff like that. But the plan is going to be simple. Just going to get some baits out into the water and wait for some fish to show up. Alright, I think we have something on. Well, we had something on and it swam into some cover. Been having the strangest things happen out here. You have the current running this way and then it makes a little back eddy running back, but the baits and stuff tend to come towards you, towards the rocks. They're not washing back, they're washing towards the rocks. And I've had 2 or 3 times now where I'm getting bites, and as soon as you pick up the rod, it's like your line goes completely slack. When you start reeling in, your baits are all the way right here next to the shore. It's a bit of a weird learning curve, but we'll get it figured out. Let's get a new setup out there. I'll send it back out there. Alright, it's been several hours of not catching anything. Suddenly getting a hit, and we have a little sauger or walleye. This little guy went for a piece of night crawler, and this is a little walleye. You can see that black spot there at the back, the white here at the end of the tail. That's how I know this is a little walleye. If this was a sauger, it would be a lot of dots on that back fin. And that little white dot wouldn't be as prominent. If maybe we caught quite a lot more of them, could keep them for a fish fry or something, but seeing as it took hours to get one little walleye, I'm not going to keep him today. Let's have one last look at our little fish. Small little walleye. First little fish landed from this lake, however. Let's get him back to the water. And off he goes. You can see the little white on his tail as he's swimming away back down to the deeper waters. Now this lake has been quite a big conundrum, having my baits go down water, up water. I've hooked 4 fish and lost 4 fish. It's like they grab it and go into little caves or little holes or something. So it's a pull on the rod and then suddenly it gets stuck in a rock. Rather weird little spot to fish. But like I mentioned, it took a couple of hours and finally got a fish at least. I'm going to rebait and get it back out there, but I don't think we're going to get any more fish before it gets dark. But let's try at least. Alright, ladies and gents, I had a fun afternoon out there. I had a little squirrel steal one of my bait fish. In the tree over the way there is a bald eagle, and I even saw the Loch Ness monster from this lake. Now, no, that is not a log, it's an actual bird struggling to get out of the water. And I also managed to find the biggest spider in North America. All in all, a fun outing. But as far as the video and the fishing, not a lot there really to say or to do. Now, to be honest, I expected a bit more of the fishing. We only got that one little walleye. Like I said, I had constant hits and little things stealing the baits and stuff, but only one fish for this video. Now, I chose this particular spot. It's right next to the road with all of the cars going over the bridge, so it is rather noisy, but I chose this particular spot because it's close to the boat launch and there is a little easy access. That's why I chose this particular spot. It's not necessarily the best spot for fishing, but this spot did offer up at least one little fish. So that just goes to show, getting out the baits into the water, you can find fish. Now please do give me a little thumbs up for catching a fish at least. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe, joining my community. Alright, but thank you for watching. Like always, I'll see you next time.